good day, ma'am. I'm Angelo Bangalando. Uh, this is my report sa imong gihatag nga topic. So, first is concise history of Bureau of Correction. So, the Bureau of Prison was created under the Reorganization Act of 1905 as an agent under the Department of Commerce and Police. So the Reorganization Act also reestablished the San Ramon Prison in 1907, which was destroyed during the Spanish-American War in 1898. So next. So first name of Bureau of Correction. Uh, ang una is Bureau of Prison 1101, the Administrative Code of 1987, and proclamation number is 495, issued on November 22, 1989. Change the agency's name on the current Bureau of Correction from Bureau of Prisons. What are the function of Bureau of Corrections? So the function of the Bureau of Correction is charged with custody and rehabilitation of national offender, and that is those sentenced to serve a term of imprisonment of more than 3 years. Next. So the oldest correction of institution in the Philippines is New Bilibid Prison. So the seven penal institution of Bureau of Correction: New Bilibid Prison, Correctional Institution for Women, Davao Penal Colony, San Ramon, Sablayan Prison, and Penal Farm. Then the last is Leyte Regional Prison. So next, what law created the Bureau of Corrections? So this act shall be known as the Bureau of Correction Act of 2013, Section 2, Declaration of Policy. It is the policy of the state to promote the general welfare and safeguard the basic right of every prisoner incarcerated in our national penitentiary. So next, how did correction start the Philippines? So correction in the Philippines started during the pre-colonial time. It was however organized on individual community basis. It was only during the Spanish regime when an organized corrective service was made operational. So next is what is the difference between the Bureau of Correction from the Bureau of Jail? So the Bucor is an attached agency of the Department of Justice, or DOG, where convicted inmates are imprisoned. Meanwhile, the BGMP is an agency under the watch of the DILG, which handles the district, city, and the municipal jail where persons deprived of liberty, so, still facing trial, are held. So next, who appointed the head of Bureau of Corrections? So President Rodrigo Duterte, Manila, Philippines, more than 2 years after heading the prisons agency, Gerald Bantag was finally appointed by President Rodrigo Duterte as the Director General of the Bureau of Correction, or Bucor. Bantag took his oath of office before Judge Secretary Minardo Guevara on Tuesday. So next, what is the difference between the Bucor and BGMP? So the Bucor is an attached agency of the Department of Justice where a convicted inmate are imprisoned. Meanwhile, the BGMP is an agency under the watch of DILG which handle the district, city, and municipal jail where persons deprived of liberty still facing trial or held. So next, so New Bilibid Prison. New Bilibid Prison construction began on New Bilibid in 1936 with a budget of 1 million Philippine peso in 1940. The prisoner equipment and facilities were transferred from Old Bilibid to New Prison. The remnant of the old facility was used by the city of Manila as its detention center. So next, muna ang picture sa Bureau of Corrections sa Bilibid. Who established the new Bilibid prison? On September 5, 1991, President Corazon C. Aquino issued Presidential Proclamation number 792, which was amended by Presidential Proclamations. So next, what is the first prison in the Philippines? Ang first prison in the Philippines is the Bilibid Prison, which was located on Oroquita Street in Manila, was established in 1847 by a royal decree, formally opened on April 10, 1866. So next, how many prisoners are in Bilibid? As of November 2021, approximately 9.7 thousand inmates belongs to the age group of 40 to 59 years old in the National Bilibid Prison in the Philippines were confined in maximum security. So next, how many Bilibid are there in the Philippines? So as November 21, the majority of inmates in the National Bilibid Prison in the Philippines were locals. So the Philippines ranked 5th among the largest size of prison population in Asia. That was approximately 200,000 inmates as of August 2020. Next, what is the importance of New Bilibid prisons? So the New Bilibid prison in Muntinlupa City, Philippines is the main insular penitentiary designed to house the prison population of Philippines. It is maintained by the Bureau of Correction or Bucor under the Philippine Department of Justice. So next, Bilibid Prison. The National Penitentiary such as Bilibid has 3 security compound. The maximum, medium, and the minimum. New Bilibid Prison hectares. So 551 hectares. The penitentiary had an initial land area of 551 hectares or 1,360 acres, but 104 hectares or 260 acres were transferred to a housing project of the Department of Justice. So next, San Ramon and Penal Farm. San Ramon Penal Colony was founded in 1869 and was officially recognized and made known as in 1870. San Ramon was founded by the Spanish government, but the American government later took over after Spain lost the war against the United States. So what is the origin of Ramon Prison and Penal Farm? Based on the Bucor online data, the San Ramon Prison and Penal Farm was established on August 21, 1870 through a royal decree promulgated in 1869 during the tenure of Gov. Gen. Ramon Blanco. It said the facility was originally established for for person convicted of political crime. Who was the founder of the San Ramon Prison and Penal Farm? So Captain Ramon Blanco founded the Spanish Royal Army. It was established for the confinement of Muslim and political offender. Established on August 21, 1869, the oldest correctional facilities in the country. What is the largest prison and penal farm in the country? It has a land of area of 30,000 hectares with a prison reservation of 8,000 hectares. During the World War II, the Davao Penal Colony was the biggest prison establishment in the country, which was used by the Japanese invading army as their imperial garrison. So next, on January 1, 1915, the San Ramon Prison was placed under the auspice of the Bureau of Prison and started receiving prisoners from Mindanao. So San Ramon Prison and Penal Farm is located in Zamboanga City, founded by Captain Ramon Blanco of the Spanish Royal Army. It was established for confinement of Muslim and political offender. Established on August 21, 1869, the oldest correctional facility in the country, has an area of 1,246 hectares. The principal product is copra. Secondary product is rice, corn, coffee, cattle, and livestock. Next, what is the origin of Ramon Prison and Penal Farm? So based on Bucor online data, the San Ramon Prison and Penal Farm was established on August 21, 1870 through a royal decree promulgated in 1869 during the tenure of Governor Ramon Blanco. It said the facility was originally established for persons convicted of political crime. So, how many prisoners are in San Ramon Prison and Penal Farm? The Penal Farm of the San Ramon Prison is situated in the province of Zamboanga on the southern tip of the large island of Mindanao. It covers an area of 1,160 hectares and has an average inmate population of 800. Where is San Ramon Prison and Penal Farm located? Province of Zamboanga. The Penal Farm of the San Ramon Prison is situated in the province of Zamboanga on the southern tip of large island of Mindanao. So, money up. Next is Ihawig Penal Colony. Ihawig Penal Colony Ihawig Penal Colony or Ihawig Prison and Penal Farm. This unique prison without bars was established by the American in 1904. The inmate tent bus farm instead of idly spending time behind bars. The more enterprising earned by making handcraft and other productive activities during their spare time. Ihawig has since become synonymous to finely handcrafted bag and other souvenir items. Next. The Ihawig Prison and the Penal Farm is one of the most popular prisons in the Philippines. It was established in 1902 by the United States for the Filipino prisoner who had fought without the American during their colonization in the Philippines. The Ihawig Prison Farm is located on Barangay Ihawig, Palawan and is 30 minutes ride from the province capital, Puerto Princesa. Currently, it houses some 4,000 inmates. Ihawig Penal Colony. This facility was established during the American occupation. It was, however, during the Spanish regime that Puerto Princesa was designated as a place where offenders sentenced to banishment were exiled. A specific area of Puerto Princesa was selected as the site for the correctional facility. The American military carves out of the prison facility in the rainforest of Puerto Princesa. The institution had for its first superintendent George Wolfe, a member of the U.S. Expeditionary Force, who, la- who later who later became the first prison's director. Governor Luke Wright authorized the establishment of the penal colony in the province of Palawan on November 16, 1904. This penal settlement, which originally comprised an area of 22 acres, originally served as the depository for prisoners who could not be accommodated at the Bilibid prison in Manila. In 1906, however, the Department of Commerce and Police, which later became a Department of the Public Instruction, moved, moved to turn the institution into the center of the penal colony. Supervised in accordance with the trend at the time. Through the department's effort, the Philippine Commission of State Government passed Act number 1723 in 1907, classifying the settlement as a penal institution. The settlement was the first visit by the attempted escape, but under the supervision of Col. John R. White of the Philippines Constabulary, who would become superintendent of Ihawig in 1906. The colony became a successful settlement. A merit system was devised for the prisoner and vocational activities were offered. This included farming, fishing, forestry, carpentry, and hospital paramedical works. Prisoner could choose the vocational activities they wanted. In 1955, Administrative Order Number 20 was promulgated by the President and implemented by the Secretary of Justice and the Secretary of Agriculture and Natural Resources. This order allowed the distribution of the colony land for cultivation by the deserving colonies. The order also contained a list of qualification of colonies who wished to apply for a lot of cultivate. The condition of the settler stay in his land, loan requirement, and marketing of the settler produce. Lot granted did not exceed 6 hectares. On August 16, 1959, the committee was created by President Carlos P. Garcia to study the state of national prison. Accordingly, prisoners in Ihawig were divided into two groups, the settler and the colonies. The settler are those engaged in farming for their own benefits. They are the one of those applications for land to cultivate have been approved. The government furnished the land of initial requirements for tools, dwelling, and beasts of burden. Next. They are required to reimburse expenditures incurred for their maintenance and that's their families out of the product of their farm. Upon their release from the colony, they receive whatever amount of money they have credited in their favor after deducting the obligation they have. Ihawig is subdivided into 4 zones or district. Central Subcolony with an area of 14,700 hectares, Santa Lucia with 9,600 85 hectares, Montebello with 8,000 hectares, and Inagawan with 13,000 hectares. Recent development of a presidential proclamation have dramatically reduced the size of the prison reservation of Ihawig. Who established Ihawig Penal Colony? Governor Luke Wright. Governor Luke authorized the establishment for a penal colony in the province of Palawan on November 16, 1904. This penal settlement, which originally comprised an area of 22 acre, originally served as a depository for prisoners who could not be accommodated at the Bilibid prison in Manila. Next. The Ihawig Prison and Penal Farm in the Philippines is one of the world's largest open-air jail. Instead of a concrete wall, the prison is surrounded by the wire fence. A single guard of the entrance gate great tourists and criminals relative without expecting them. What was the function of Ihawig Penal Colony? This penal settle, which originally comprised an area of 22 acres, served as a depository for prisoners who could not be accommodated at the Bilibid prison in Manila. A prison facility was created by the American military in the rainforest of Puerto Princesa. So, Correctional Institution for Women, or CIW. The Correctional Institution for Women is a women's prison located in Mandaluyong, Metro Manila, Philippines. The prison is operated by the Bureau of Correction. The prison first opened on 18 hectares, 44 acre property on February 14, 1931. Previously, women were held at the old Bilibid prison. So, Manila, Philippines, the correctional institution for women served as the new place of detention of alleged pork barrel scam mastermind Janet Lim Napoles after she was found guilty on Tuesday, April 14 of serious illegal detention. Next. The woman prison will now serve as the new home of Napoles, who was transferred early Thursday morning from her detention at Camp Bagong Diwa in Taguig City. So, CIW, located in Mandaluyong City, is the country first, the only penal institution dedicated to woman offender. It is one of the 7 operating units under the Bureau of Correction, or Bucor. So, Correctional Institution for Women was born on via and signing of Act number 3579 on November 1929, which authorized the transfer of all women inmates of the old Bilibid prison in Manila to have a new facility. Some 270 female inmates were transferred on February 1931 to a building of Mandaluyong, then part of Rizal, that was initially called the Woman Prison. It was later renamed to CIW, in keeping with emerging trend in penology, which emphasized corrections rather than punishment. CIW faced congestion problem as the welcomed an increasing number of inmates. In 2002, the National Statistical Coordination Board reported that CIW was actually the most congested facility among 7 operating units under the Bucor. While the Bilibid prison registered an 85% congestion rate with 16,135 34 population but only 8,700 capacity. CIW posted on higher 90% congestion rate with 951 population but only 500 capacity. Expansion of the facility first came on June 16, 2003 with the construction of an extension building in Mandaluyong City. Then on September 18, 2007, it opened in branch in Mindanao, the Correctional Institution for Women in Mindanao, or CIWM. The satellite prison under the supervision of direction of the Davao Prison and Penal Farm Administration. By the time of Napolis was admitted to the facility, CIW offender in charge Edelinda Patak admitted a new report that they have a capacity of 1,500 but are currently hosting 2,273 inmates. Patak, however, clarified that the facility dormitories, each housing 50 to 100 inmates, remain clean and orderly despite the congestion. In 2013, President Benigno Aquino III signed Republic Act 10575, which modernized the Bucor by upgrading its facilities, increasing the number of its personnel, upgrading the level of qualification of their personnel, and standardizing their base pay, retirement, and other benefits. This law aimed to improve, among others, the 1:1144 guard to inmate ratio in CIW. According to Bravo report, the reception of the diagnostic center, the receiving arm of Bucor, admit inmate and classifies them based on their security status, maximum, medium, and minimum. For 60 days, inmate undergo psychiatric, psychological, medical, and other examination during this period. Rehabilitation. Bravo state in his report that CIW's approach to rehabilitation involved region, education, livelihood, and social skill, all of which are needed for the inmate preparation for the release. So, Davao Penal Colony. So, the Davao Penal Colony, or penal farm, formerly the Davao Penal Colony, DAPICOL, was established on January 21, 1932 in Panabo City, Davao del Norte, Philippines. It has a land area of 30,000 hectares with a prison reserve of 8,000 hectares. So, mo ni pictures. What was the settlement of Davao Penal Colony? The Davao Penal Colony is the first penal settlement founded or organized under the Filipino administration. The settlement, which originally had an area of approximately 30,000 hectares in the district of Panabo and Tagum, Davao del Norte, was formally established on January 21 by virtue of Act number 3732. What is the main product of penal colony? So, major product is abaca, banana, copra, cattle, and other farm product, and the now biggest abaca plantation in the country. Davao Penal Colony, a view of prison rehab from the preamp of the corporate farming and other concern. Davao Penal Colony was established in 1931 and has since been hub of correctional upheaval and violent struggle to sustain the incarcerated humanity for decades to follow. It was a period of turmoil. It was a remote jungle carved from the rainforest north of undivided Davao province, eastern side of Mindanao. It was founded during the Commonwealth era administered by the General Paulino Santos. It first penal superintended on those respectable name and province southernmost Mindanao would be named in his Jensen. So stability came into the reality subsequently only after the viable prison training and work program had been determined. It is one exactly the way to our resort or zoo or the marketplace. It is not even park or playground. Davao Penal Colony is the second biggest prison facility in the term of land area and inmate population in the country. And this is not actually a typical penal establishment where the entire population are confined and restricted into an enclosure of cemented fence combined with crisscrossing combat wire. Historical facts. So Davao Penal Colony upon a time was the biggest prison establishment in the country, and during the World War II became into imperial garrison by the Japanese invading army. It has a hidden historical role as when it confined a left untold atrocities among its denizens, mostly American servicemen who were imprisoned as POW, prisoner of war. A recent book, Escape from the Davao, the forgotten story by the most during prison break the Pacific War by the John Lucas, detailed the suspenseful plight those super servicemen and how a few managed to escape from the function those invaded, survived the rigor and challenged the crossing of the unforgiving and treacherous jungle surrounding the penal facilities. During said period, the regular prison was closed down and its administrative side transferred to Ihawig Penal Colony. For a number of years, it was detention area commanded by the Japanese Kempitai or Special Force. That was its history. It past its inglorious reputation. In the Philippine criminal justice perspective, a better view in about the unfold within the corrective service of the country, this is one of the facility which must also be appreciated not from the prism of YouTube but the social science as well. There was a time when a rule was forgot offender exposed them as entertainer, the extract much through the exploitation that which are supposed to be utilized for their rehabilitation and promote their very in the cover that would promote their welfare. But over in Davao prison and penal farm, other situation is a burning. It had an own separate agenda. Previously, it has been cited is all known brutal violence in the past. So brutal that its history is enough. Discourage an officer or a prisoner from being assigned in the area. Riots and hostage drama in the National Penitentiary were veritable picnic session when compared to Davao Penal Colony's record of mayhem. It was an institution that has existed on bridge lack of the survive at the age. So Davao Prison today, with it well ordered plantation within the prison reservation, the disciplined community was work trainees among the first prison community, the dormitories and project, and lately the foundation of the only correction facility for women in Mindanao. are testimonies to change. Uh, quite a half decade more advanced than the quest for change which the present administration wanted to bring forth, which already reaping quite number of review and appreciation. Change can indeed happen, and skeptics may have their own comeuppance once they see the place and try to believe that indeed it can happen despite the odds of challenge. And, and change happen at a period when apathy is an made abuse the order of the day and indifference. The climate of bureaucracy it as a plenary lesson, which the new administration can take the left from. Change can indeed pursue through sheer audacity and yes, honestly, uh, expected from the ranks. So, Sablayan Prison and Penal Farm. So, Sablayan Prison and Penal Farm, founded on September 27, 1954, by virtue of Proclamation Number 72, dated September 27, 1954. The consists of 16,190 hectares in Sablayan, Occidental Mindoro, one of the prisons nearer to Metro Manila. What is the origin of Sablayan Prison and Penal Farm? On September 26, 1954, by virtue of Presidential Proclamation Number 72, Sablayan Penal Colonies Farm or SPCF was created by President Ramon Magsaysay. On June 15, 1955, the first group of officials and employees, including the 68 prisoner of SPCF from Ihawig Penal Colony arrived. What is the function of Sablayan Prison and Penal Farm?